Assalamualaikum guys, welcome to our global presentation about our case study 3. Is it right for citizens to travel to other countries for medical treatment due to the high cost in their own country? This is our group members. For this question, we will analyze this from the perspective for 4 stakeholders. The first one is domestic medical institution and hospitals. The second one is NGOs. The third one is domestic government and policymaker. The last one is neighboring countries. Okay, now let's welcome my group member to introduce this.
Okay, let me introduce our fourth stakeholder, which is the domestic medical institutions and hospitals. Let's begin with autonomy. Hospitals do have some freedom in setting prices and managing resources. However, this autonomy is not absolute. It is limited by laws, rising costs, and ethical responsibilities to serve the public. When hospitals raise prices and cover expenses, many patients are forced to seek treatment abroad. This undermines both trust and the hospital's mission to care for the public. Next, we look at the beneficence and the non-beneficence. Hospitals should aim to improve health and avoid causing harm. Reasonable fees can help improve services and facilities, which fulfill their duty to do good. However, when costs become too high, low-income patients may delay to avoid treatment. This leads to worse health outcomes and goes against the principle of do no harm. So, hospitals must strike and balance between financial sustainability and making healthcare accessible to everyone. Now, let's move to the justice. Healthcare should be fairly distributed regardless of income, but in the countries where medical fees are too high, only the wealthy can afford treatment, forcing the poor to seek care elsewhere. To promote equity, hospitals must consider affordability, especially for the vulnerable groups. Finally, from the Islamic ethical perspective, hospitals are entrusted by Allah to protect life. They must avoid harm and not let profit override their moral duty. If patients are denied treatment due to the cost, it violates Islamic values of compassion and justice. Hospitals should uphold these religious and ethical values to maintain both social and spiritual integrity. Now, welcome our another group members to introduce another stakeholder.
Okay, next. The public health NGOs agreed that charging high medical fees violated core ethic principle. First is undermines autonomy, because when healthy care became unaffordable, people are not freely choosing to go abroad, they are forced to. Second, it harms well-being by reducing access to care and delaying treatment, especially for the poor or elderly, while a few may benefit from cheaper care abroad. Overall, this created deeper inequality. For NGOs, such a pricing system is both ethically flawed and socially harmful.
And Joe mentioned that high medical costs are unfair. These costs hurt poor people the most. When people have to go other countries for the treatment, it shows their own country healthcare system isn't working fairly. And NGO want two main solutions. One is the payment based on what people can afford, and the second is agreement between countries to share medical resources equally. And next, we will talk about the religious perspective. All major religions agree that healthcare is a basic human right. Christian believe in helping the poor, and Muslim believe life is scared and require charity for community health. Hindus and Buddhists believe is not harming others and serving selflessly. Religious NGOs run free clinics and push for the fair health laws based on this belief.
Let's talk about governments and policymakers. Justice in healthcare means fair access regardless of income. When the wealthy can afford private care and the poor must travel abroad or forego treatment altogether, both distributive and procedural justice are violated. A lack of price regulation, subsidies, or inclusive policy-making process widens inequality and public justification. A just system ensures affordable access, listens to public need, and protects vulnerable population from systemic exclusion. Religion's traditions emphasize fairness and care for the disadvantaged. Christianity teaches love, Islam promotes easing suffers, and burdenism emphasize compassion. High healthcare costs that deny treatment to the poor violate this shared principle. Ecstatic government ensure accessible and inclusive health service.
On the surface, citizens seeking medical care abroad may appear to be exercising free choice. However, in countries where domestic medical fees are unaffordable, this choice is forced by economic necessity rather than personal preference. Autonomy in healthcare requires access to realistic, viable options. When a government fails to provide affordable service locally, it effectively denies citizens the ability to make genuine, uncoerced healthcare decisions. This restricts individual freedom and reflects a policy failure that undermines basic ethical governance. Governments has a dual obligation to promote the health of their people and to prevent harm. High medical costs can lead citizens to delay treatment or travel abroad, exposing them to risks such as language barriers, different medical standards, or misdiagnosis. These risks are preventable and stem from diagnostic policies' shortcomings. Moreover, if governments fail to reinvest healthcare revenues into improving service, they neglect their duty to promote long-term national well-being. Ethical public health policy must aim to serve all citizens, not only the wealthy.
Next, I will discuss the ethical issues faced by liberal countries or stakeholders. From the perspective of autonomy, every patient has the right to freely choose their medical location and doctor. But in reality, the choice of domestic patients has been greatly compressed. For example, many private hospitals in liberal countries were giving priority to foreigners with stronger payment ability. From the perspectives of well-being and non-maleficence, liberal countries can indeed bring economic benefits in the short term by accepting foreign patients, but this often comes at the cost of sacrificing the quality of medical care for vulnerable groups in their own countries. From the perspective of justice, liberal governments have the responsibility to give priority to protecting the most basic medical rights of their own people. However, foreign patients have exacerbated the inequality of medical resources. For example, in Thailand, private hospitals are mostly concentrated in cities to serve foreign patients, resulting in a widening gap between urban and rural areas. From a religious perspective, Islam emphasizes the collective responsibility of society, and the government and the society have an obligation to ensure the health of community members. The core ethics of Buddhism are compassion and equality among sentient beings. But in practice, many Buddhist countries encourage helping those who suffer around them, especially the local poor groups.
Okay, based on the four stakeholder, we can get the conclusion. We know high medical costs may seem helpful for keeping the healthcare system running in the beginning, but in the long run, they bring in more problems than the benefits. When treatment is too expensive, many people can't get the care they need. It always takes their choice, make it life harder or poor families, and goes against the basic idea of kindness and support for one another. From what's different global thinking, a fair healthcare system should let all people get basic treatment without worrying about the money. Getting sick shouldn't mean go another country just to see a doctor. And for our perspective, the government should increase its health budget because the well-being of the people should always be the top priority. Okay, that's all of our presentation. Thank you for watching.